I grew up with my mom for most of my life. She was a single mom, and she's deaf. And so, but she's the only deaf daughter of a hearing family. And so she has 3 siblings who are all hearing, and both of her parents who can hear. I do consider myself bicultural, probably more bicultural than bilingual. A lot of times when I was little, I had to interpret for my mom between restaurant waiters and the grocery store. Every time we would go out to a restaurant, like, because I could hear, but we're all signing usually, and you could hear people talking about, like, what's wrong with that family? I wonder how they drive. I wonder how do they do anything? I wonder where they work. And my mom has her master's in education and she teaches, so and I could hear them the whole time. So things like that would happen a lot. She didn't want to force a difference. It was obvious enough already that she was deaf and we were hearing. She didn't want us to feel like she was forcing her deaf culture on us. One thing about deaf people that people assume a lot is they don't know how to read or write, or that the old adage that deaf, dumb, and mute. My mom can communicate well. I've met countless deaf people who they can communicate. It doesn't matter that they can't hear. It's not a disability to them. It's something to be proud of, and so I think that's something everyone else can learn from, is to be proud of who you are, no matter what your weaknesses might be. Because I grew up in a bicultural home, for me, when I moved to a different culture, it's easier because I know my culture and I know what I grew up with, and then being around people with different cultures is not like a shock for me, and so maybe I don't notice it as much. I didn't grow up where everyone was the same. So I'm a very curious person. I'll always ask questions, and sometimes maybe it's dangerous, borders dangerous. I just want to learn. I care about other people, so I want to know. And so for me, it's just when I encounter something new, I just ask, because I'm open about my culture experiences, and I want you to ask me because I want to talk about it. I'm going to ask you also. And then if it's silent, well, that's what I grew up with, so it's fine. People have always kind of assumed that I don't know anything about diversity, and they always seem a little shocked when I'm like, yeah, like, I know what it's like to grow up with a different experience, and they're like, you don't get it. Like, it's different, so don't talk about it because you don't have the face or the experience. There's no way you have the experience. And then when it's the, like, actually, like, my mom's deaf, it's like, oh, I think anyone can talk to diversity because they grew up somewhere different than I did. They grew up with different experiences than I did. You don't have to, like, have been oppressed in the same way to understand anger or sadness or rejection. You just have to know rejection, sadness, and anger. You don't have to have gone through it the same way.